So I'm alone today. The is going on a leisure activity. So since I wake up at like I woke up at 8:30. I got up at 8:45, and by that time the house was empty. Like I woke up at 5. I stayed awake till 5:30. Then I went to sleep, and then woke up at 7. Then I was like, oh, there's people in the house. Dogs doing training and all this other stuff. And then I went back to sleep until 8, and then I was fiddling around with my phone, and then I went back to sleep again until 8:30, and then I was like, oh, I better get up. It's nothing better than fresh mown grass and lawn. But my nose is going chaotic. But I thought, because of the wind last night, I thought, oh, better see what's going on. As you can see, this branch is broken. Poor branch. So it's being supported by that other branch. I don't know if I can break it though. And you might need snippers. No, I think I'll need snippers. So that's one branch down. All these trees are so sensitive to the wind. It's like we need not just more trees, like the kinds of trees that don't fall down so much, because trees are so fragile. I find they're always losing branches and things. And they just fall down all the time. It's like you have to have your land cleared, because the wind just makes the trees fall down. I'm like, who would grow a tree? Really? I mean, it's good for shade, but when it's not shading places, it's like it's such a fragile thing. That you're like, why do I grow trees when the wind just pushes them over? So it's really weird. Everyone thinks pine trees are like the strongest trees, but you put a pine tree where it's windy, and even pine trees fall down. So it's like all these trees are so fragile. These are mostly wattles, some eucalyptus, but all the ones over there are wattles. All the ones down there in that second paddock's wattles. Lots of wattles. So they grow tall, sure, but they're so flimsy. You're like going, why does anyone grow a tree? Really? Because, a lot of them don't last 200 years. A lot of them fall down a lot, and you're like going, why do people spend money on taking down trees when the wind just pushes them down a lot? So we got some wind the other day, and stuff, but that's alright. Got some wind. This is a strange tree because it looks pretty much like a stick out of the ground, and it's been so ravaged. I'm not even sure if it grows. So you're like going, poor tree. Don't even know what happened to it. It takes years and years for trees to grow, and you're like, they're so fragile. Like every time there's this wind, it's like something is falling down. So I'll have to look up like the world's sturdiest tree or something and see and see what they are. The most windproof trees. I think everyone agrees pine trees are windproof, but we've had pine trees and they don't outlast the eucalyptus, especially in extreme weather. So I think eucalyptus is generally one of the hardier trees. Pine trees are supposed to be hardy, but a lot of times they're not that hardy actually, because when we've lived here before, we planted a pine tree and cyclones come, and the pine tree is a huge tree, but it gets knocked down by the cyclones, and all the other trees like the eucalyptus trees are really good, and the eucalyptus trees usually stay standing, and you're like, well, I guess it's like up to the eucalyptus wattles, and whatever this tree over here is, that's a pretty sturdy tree. We don't know what it is, but it's in some sort of native tree. And so that tree withstands a lot of wind. But pine tree didn't even make it, through a year. So pine trees are kind of flimsy. I would plant a pine tree maybe amongst the wattles or something. In the third paddock. That's where I would plant a pine tree because it needs protection. I have nothing to do today, literally. I'm just going to be on the computer after I make a phone call this morning. So, birds aren't even hungry today. They're like not looking for food. I don't feed them a lot when it's on rains. But usually they're on a hot day. They'll hang around the food bowls a lot more. But on a cooler day, they don't bother to come. I guess they'll come later when they feel like it. Pigeons should have come already, but nothing's there at the moment.